All right. Well, it's finally Friday. Welcome to Unlikely Disciple. My name is Dave. You can tell it's Friday because I have my Fort Chiswell shirt on again. I promise. I washed it. But it's football game again tonight, so we're going to be heading out with the band. We're going to be doing all our good stuff there tonight. Hopefully we'll play some football tonight, but my breath isn't held. At any rate, today what I've got for you is actually kind of something pretty cool. And, I'm going to try not to be emotional or any of that kind of stuff with it, but where we're at today is in Matthew chapter 9, verses 10 through 13. It's not an unfamiliar scripture. I'm sure most of you are going to have heard this in some way, shape, or form before. But it says, well, Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house. Many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw this, they asked the disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" On hearing this, Jesus said, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice, for I have not come to call the righteous, but the sinners." That I desire mercy, not sacrifice, I'd never really looked further into that, but it turns out that's a quote from Hosea chapter 6 verse 6, where it says, "For I desire mercy, not sacrifice, and acknowledgement of God rather than burnt offerings." So there's a lot to unpack with that whole thing, but basically it says the Pharisees couldn't understand why Jesus, a respected teacher, would sit at a table with tax collectors and sinners. In their eyes, holiness meant separation. But Jesus demonstrated holiness, that true holiness flows from compassion, in other words, mercy. His words echoed the prophet Hosea. God desires mercy, not sacrifice. Religious rituals, sacrifices, offerings, traditions, they have their place, but without mercy and love, they are empty. God's heart is not satisfied with outward displays of religion. He longs for his people to reflect his career. Mercy is love in action, forgiveness extended, compassion given, and kindness shown. Jesus shows us that following him means moving toward the broken, not away from them. Just as a doctor seeks the sick, Jesus seeks the sinner. And just as we have received his mercy, we are called to extend it to others. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. That's a devotional. After I found those verses and I put some things together, that's a devotional that ChatGPT actually threw together for me. And I read it word for word, which is something I just had thought not to do. But I read it word for word because I thought, it said it in a way that I think in a clear way that maybe I couldn't have initially. But I want to build on this. What we find in today's church, and we still find it, unfortunately, despite so many of these types of things being out there, is it's very much a club of inclusivity, of exclusivity. I'm sorry, not inclusivity. So once you're in the club, you're fine. Everyone looks at you, I'm a good Christian. I help. I tithe heavily. I show up and I do this and I do that. But yet, you're not very merciful. We all do it. When that guy covered in tattoos and piercing walks into the church, what's the first thing that enters your mind? You know what it is. When that guy reeking of booze from a bad Saturday night comes walking into a church, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? When the dude who looks like a criminal sits down in a pew next to you, do you pull your wife or your purse or do you pull that in closer? Are you suspicious? Just saying. I'm not saying that these things aren't justified. I'm just saying that we tend to have this attitude when someone first walks into a church of thinking, well, they don't look like me. They're not as clean as, they don't have as nice of a shirt on as me. All those things come with time, man. You just, when you first walk through the door, the reason that this is so sensitive to me today is that this is actually, and this number is somewhat insignificant. Maybe it's significant, but it's been 495 days since I was saved. I feel like I've been saved a whole bunch more times since then, but since I was officially saved, it's been 495 days. Okay, so a little over a year and a half, whatever you want to call that. But I've been sober. I have not had a drink for 367 days. I have both of these counters on my phone. I highly recommend, if you do something significant, to put it. I don't know that that's the exact day since I've had a drink. I don't know that for sure, but I know it was close to Labor Day last year. That means I was in church finding my way for 130 days before I decided I was done drinking. I came to church sick. I walked through the door. Now, am I clean? Am I healthy? No, there are still a lot of things that I'm trying to figure out and trying to work out in my life. But the thing is, it was the mercy of people in the church. I was lucky enough to walk into a church where I was shown mercy. It wasn't about whether I understood the rituals or whether I sang the songs or whether I said the right things when someone asked me to pray. None of that mattered. All that mattered is that I was there and that I was trying to become a better person. And I have been taught that by the people in my church, and I've been so fortunate. We do not have enough of that in the modern church, and that's something that is just stuck in my head. And that's what I'm challenging each of you to do today is if you're dirty, show up. You don't lose 20 pounds to go to the gym, man. It doesn't make any sense. Just go. Sit in the back pew if that's where you want to sit, but just listen to people. Find your place. If that's not where you want to be, show up at a restaurant early in the morning and set a Bible down, and it seems like you'll find somebody that wants to talk to you about it, and maybe you can start to do that. There's always groups of people meeting. Comment and ask me. I can tell you of a few that are people that are meeting. The point is, if you aren't sure what to do, do something. If you're sick, if you need help, you don't wait until you're clean. You don't wait until you look like all the other church people. You don't wait until you're dressed like the Pharisees, man. You go now and you find your way to Jesus now. And as Christians, speaking to the other half of the people, we need to be showing mercy to every single person. I don't care what they look like. I don't care what they smell like. I don't care if they wear the right clothes. I don't care. You are doing the wrong thing. You are being the opposite of Jesus. You are doing the opposite of what the Bible teaches us, what the gospel teaches us. If you are doing anything other than welcoming every human being that you see into the fold when they're seeking help, when they're sick, when they ask for help. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to go on a tangent with this, but I'm telling you right now that if you are a Christian, if you label yourself as a Christian, and you are not seeking those opportunities to help someone, to help your neighbor, to bring them into the fold, and I'm not saying go hit them with the Bible. I'm saying bring them lunch. I'm saying show up next door when you see them outside. Just show up and start talking to them about the weather. Let them know that there's a friendly face next door, and eventually the opportunity will reveal itself. If God meant for you to do that, God will put you there, and he puts you there for a reason, and he will tell you what to say when it's the time to say it. Don't force it. Do everything in its time. God has his plan, but I desire mercy, not sacrifice. He desires mercy, not sacrifice. You can pray and put up all the crosses in your house. You can do all the rituals. None of it. It all pales in comparison to just showing mercy to your neighbors. When Jesus was asked what the greatest commandment of all was to love your Lord your God with all your heart. What was the second one? To love your neighbor as yourself. I'm not quoting it exactly, so Bible Nazis don't get at me. But at any rate, that's what I have for you today. I went a little long today, but you know what? This is something that I think we need to really work on. I need to work on. You need to work on. We all need to work on. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Comment, like, subscribe. Please like, subscribe. Let me know that someone actually likes these things and would like to see more of them. That would be great. I appreciate your time. God bless you all. I love you. Talk soon.